Ubisoft.
They just cannot catch a break. I mean, they don't deserve a break. Sorry. Let me just clarify. Okay. I say they can't catch a break. I don't want them to get a break. I don't care.
They're getting everything they deserve.
They literally do deserve to crumble, go under. Okay. Yeah. But they can't catch a break, and it's hilarious. It's very, very funny. So 700 Ubisoft employees are striking the company in response to return to office requirements, believed to be an attempt to force resignations. So, well, one, look at the physiognomy on these people.
State of it.
Look at it. These people are complaining that they've got to be back in the office. Like a self-righteous, entitled scum.
Yeah. Didn't all the work from home mandates end like years ago, a couple of years ago now?
I don't know. I thought so.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, I think.
Because there's a similar complaint with the British civil service. A lot of them are still working from home, and they're all PO'd that they're being forced to come back to work.
I'm still working from home too.
They don't do any work at home, do they? That's the point. These people, they don't want to do any work. Half of them don't look like they have a wash either. Quite frankly, they don't look like they jump in the shower. So, well, what's going on then? So, 700 employees at its French studios have reportedly gone on strike.
That explains it.
I know. I did think that as well. In response to the company requiring employees to begin working at the office as opposed to work from home. So, back in September, the French video game union Syndicate des Travailleurs Ces du Jeux Vidéo. I butchered that. I don't speak French and I don't care. Called for Ubisoft employees. I kid. I've been to France. It's a beautiful place. Ubisoft employees to strike on October 15th, 16th, and 17th after the company demanded employees begin working in the company's offices for 3 days. 3 days per week, and they're all striking for 3 days per week. Are you insane? Are you insane, you entitled scum? So the union also shared that it believes Ubisoft made this move given it knows, quote, the consequence of its decision will be the loss of our colleagues' jobs, the disorganization of many game projects, and the drastic increase in psychosocial risks for those who remain. What? What's that even mean? What's that even mean?
Just made up, isn't it? Yeah, that's just a new thing that they've just made up. They just say, my poor psyche can't handle going to work 3 days a week. Someone in the chat said it, and it's exactly, I think, what both you and I were thinking. Like typical French, they're classic for unionizing and being work shy. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's a cliche, so it's unfair to tie every French person with that. But cliches are cliches for a reason, because there's a trend there, and well, it couldn't have happened to a better company, eh? I would do if I ever ran a company and I wasn't being unreasonable when my staff went on strike. I would do a Ronald Reagan, just fire them all. Then right, clear out. Then, no, you don't. There's no brinkmanship with me. You're all fired. Then I'll get all new people, regardless of the damage it does, because I'm not being held hostage over people that are being unreasonable. Right? If a union, I've not got anything against unions as a concept. If they're being reasonable, okay. Right? If a company is forcing people to do dangerous stuff and the union says, oh, actually, that's not on, right? That's, you're forcing kids to work in up chimneys or something, right? Then all well and good. A union movement is fine. But when they're like refusing to come back to work, well, you can all go then. I mentioned Ronald Reagan, like he did it. I think it was Reagan in the 80s. There's some massive walkout of the to do with the aeroplane industry.
Air traffic controllers.
That was it. There you go. Culture knows. And old Reagan was like, "Fine, you're all fired. We'll get in new people. Good. Get it out of the way."
He literally was like, "Peace, bitches. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm done."
Yeah.
I mean, you're completely right. I mean, it's a perfectly reasonable request to be like, "Look, can you come into work 3 days per week, please?" That's not unreasonable. That's not unreasonable by any stretch of the imagination. Like 3 days per week that's fine. That's yeah. If you're going to strike for that, yeah, go away. You don't deserve a job. You know, a job is an exchange, right? Like it's both for the employer and the employee. So if the employer is being fair and the employee is not, no, you don't. That's the exchange is terminated at that point. Fuck off, go away. It's just nonsense.
Absolutely, it's an exchange of your labour and your time for money, right? And it has to be at somewhere close to a fair deal. It sort of has to be, otherwise people wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you're not doing anyone a favour. It's the same. Like an employee, you know, is not doing the employer a favour. The employer is not doing the employee a favour. You know, it should be a fair exchange. And being asked to come into your work for 3 days is perfectly fair and reasonable. So there's a little bit more. It says this decision is announced immediately after the failure of profit sharing negotiations, exactly like previous salary negotiations. Management's proposals were unacceptable. The negotiations timetable was appalling. That just sounds like you wanted to sleep in, all right? And management was deaf to the proposals of the various employee representatives. That just means you wanted more money. That's it. That what? These guys get paid loads of money anyway. To express our anger, we call all Ubisoft employees in France to a first strike on October 15th, 16th, and 17th. Oh, it's got demands. We want a formal agreement on remote work with a due process of real negotiation between management and unions, not an arbitrary decision taken several months in advance, one which guarantees that each person can freely choose its number of remote days and when they are in the week, as well as being counted by the month and not by the week. That's incredibly unreasonable. You can't manage staff when they're managing themselves. Oh, I will decide when I come in, actually. No, go away then. That's nonsense. An immediate increase in all salaries to compensate for the drop in our living standards in recent years. The restoration of the profit sharing at a 60% objective. The end of the gender pay gap.
Okay. This union has just been co-opted by communists then. Again, couldn't have happened to a nicer company. Sorry, Nate.
No. And a higher increase in low salaries. Finally, it wants Ubisoft to listen to employees' opinions by the implementation of social dialogue worthy of the name. Management seems indeed to confuse monologue with dialogue.
Sorry.
No, this is just typical communism, and this is the problem with unions. You're either controlled by organized crime or you're controlled by the communists. There's no in between. It doesn't seem. They don't start out that way, but very rapidly they become, and then they just become propaganda wings for a particular political party. So it's annoying.
No, very good point. And it's interesting. It was maybe not obvious, but it's interesting that Ubisoft has obviously brought people into their company that are likely to do this sort of thing, i.e. arch leftists, if not actual communists. Someone else in the chat, Dark Hierophant, made a good point, and it's actually sort of along the lines of what Culture was saying. Where before, a moment ago, I said I'm not necessarily against unions in principle. Yeah, that's purely in principle. In practice, nearly always it gets shady. It's about skimming money, or it's just about a power play. For example, unions can often just become, or very often, just become a racket, right? They take subs, they take a bit of money from their members, and it becomes about that now. They're not really representing anyone and stuff. So yeah, theoretically, unions can be a good thing, but in practice, nearly always they're not. I mean, I've worked for, in my time, I worked for banks, asset management firms, trading companies and things. And they just won't have it at all. If there's any talk of a union, they're like, bye-bye, you're gone. Thank you very much. This is your last day. Clear out your desk. We'll get the guy from the door downstairs to come stand over you while you clear your desk out. You're done. They're just not having it, right? But they usually do treat their employees reasonably well, give you a good pay and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, they're not interested in any sort of unionization. And yeah, and beyond that, unions famously quite often get violent as well. We want you to be a member, and you're like, oh no, thanks. And they're like, no, you're becoming a member, or we beat you up. Right? That it can and does descend into that sort of thing as well. So anyway, it seems like this particular union in France that Ubisoft have got on their hands doesn't sound like it's that militant, but it's all on the same slippery slope. And once again, it couldn't have happened to a better company. That's what you get for attracting lefties.
Yep.
It's self-sabotage. You can't. What do you expect to happen when you employ radical left-wingers in a business, like a company, which is for profit? What do you expect to happen? You know, left-wingers, largely communist, socialist,
Activists.
Your business fundamentally relies on capitalism. So what do you actually expect to happen? What do you expect to happen? Like, it's completely self-sabotage. These people don't understand hard work. You know, again, just to look at them, you know, these people would probably classify getting out of bed as hard work, or filling a coffee cup, you know, up as hard work. These people don't understand. It's very, very clear. You can tell genuinely from looking at some of these people. Right? You can tell a lot about how someone functions by, you know, the care that they take over their appearance. So, yeah, what do you expect? It's self-sabotage. You shouldn't have hired them in the first place.
It's always funny to think how well non-state sponsored, non-state sanctioned unions do in actual communist countries, like China or North Korea or Venezuela or something. Try and form a non-state sponsored union in North Korea. See what happens. see what the state do with you.
I don't think that's going to go well. I don't think they like that.
No.
Nah. Ever so slightly, no. Well, there you go. I mean, that's basically the brunt of the news. It's just that they're striking, and it's hilarious, to be honest. Well, one employee told the outlet, "How long will it be before they start laying off workers? Hopefully immediately, and downgrading their ambitions." Apparently, she described the atmosphere as gloomy. All right.
Yeah, the games they're putting out there probably aren't helping the atmosphere either.
Yeah.
I would have thought the Ubisoft top brass have not got the ability to fight this union as well. I mean, if anyone knows about the Tory government under Margaret Thatcher during the 80s against the coal unions in Britain, you need, if you're going to beat, or what Ronald Reagan did, you need someone that's sort of wields power properly. You need someone with an iron gauntlet to fight them off. Otherwise, they will just keep taking until your company's destroyed.
Oh, and, you mean like the railway unions in the UK with Kier, Wet Blanket, Starmer?
Or the
yes, you can have unions. That pay rise. Oh, and the doctors. Yes, you can have that pay rise. And the nurses. Yeah, fun times.
These unions never care if the company can actually afford it. They don't care. We just want this, this, and this. Well, if we gave you all those things, the company would implode or would go broke. We don't care. That's what we want. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It's like, but these people don't think the long game, do they? They're thinking short term. Oh, give us this money in the short term. It's like, yeah, but you could have a job for longer. Like,
it's just
long-term employment. Yeah, quite literally.
The same thing happened here in the States with the auto unions recently. You had a bunch of strikes. The auto unions beat back the auto manufacturing companies, and you laid off 30,000 employees after the deal was struck. Wow. I mean, it's just like it, across the board in all these different locations. It's this is something that they never account for, and the unions don't care because their power and their money comes from union dues, and they are all politically motivated. So look, all these people just get freaking tired of it. So anyway, it is what it is.
Yep. Well, again, couldn't happen to a better company. So I think it's comedy gold, quite frankly. We've got one from Israel R here. Says, "Hello, HCast. With the Ubisoft union strike, I wonder if upper management is wanting employees to come to the office so they can better monitor them and prevent leaks and intel from getting out." That's true. That could be it. Or maybe they just want them to actually work. I don't know, but you are right. Yeah, it could be to do with leaks in Intel. That is true. But then a lot of it's just been normal stuff that we've learned about their games from their actual reveals, which is like, yeah, this is shit. So we haven't needed leaks, to be fair. But yeah, there you go. Fun times, fun times. Anything else to add, or shall we shuffle on?
If you are looking for insight into what's going on at Ubisoft, check out That Game Place, the other channel that I run. That one has a bunch of news about Ubisoft and more. We have even more news coming up on that channel in the next couple of days, so check it out.
There you go. There you go.
Hmm.
All right.